Hello everybody. This is me, Sarah, that divination witch, back with another collective reading. This time we are here with Lucifer for a pick a card reading. Now, I want you to focus on each pile, each crystal. We have a moon, blue lace agate, fire agate. I believe that is sodalite, sorry, forgot to say that. 3 different oracle decks that I'm going to leave as a surprise. As usual, I will be putting the names of the decks in the description. Timestamps are below as well for pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Take a moment to contemplate while you do, I should say. I just want to explain that Lucifer is more than meets the eye. Lucifer is not just a fallen angel, although of course he can be. But he is Phosphorus. He is the light bringer, the torch bearer. He is of the same archetype as Horus. He is of the same archetype as the knowledge bringers. He is Venus. He is a Venusian spirit. He was once a Roman god as well. He is also a part of Hecate. So if you have fear around that, just know that there is more to things that meets the eye. Okay, let's begin. Pile 1 we will start with. And I will just put these to the side. This oracle deck is the Flowers of the Night Oracle. I intuitively picked this one. I haven't used this one in a while. Funny that it's the moon. Okay. I'm going to pick the cards this way. Okay, purpose. Focus, reversed. Sensuality, reversed. Chance. Achievement. Communication, and last, visualization. Right. He told me to pick 7. 7 is a number of the divine feminine, even though he is a he embodies that Venus energy. Okay. Right. Purpose. We all are born with a goal in mind. Whether you want to believe this or not, to some extent it is true. For even if you are not a spiritual person that believes that we all have a destiny and a life purpose, lessons to learn, it is still a case that we do find a purpose in life. If we are not born with one, if there is not one that is preordained, so to speak, we find one. We all do. And whatever that purpose is, from something small to something big, we are all cogs in one big machine, you could say. So what he's putting in my mind is that a bin man has a purpose. A bin man, it seems like a lowly job. No offence if anybody here is a bin man or knows a bin man or woman. But if somebody doesn't empty the garbage, there would be problems. There would be infrastructural problems. There would be societal problems as well. Garbage, trash, etc. would build up. It would attract pestilence and vermin and, yeah, pests in general. It would not be a nice place to live. And then the people who hire the garbage man or women, whether that's government officials, some department, some pencil pusher, you may just think, oh, they're just a pencil pusher. But if they didn't do that, then there wouldn't be no garbage men, and then that would mean there would be a build-up of rubbish and trash, etc. And then that would lead to pests, vermin and disease, and we don't want that. That would also be a knock-on effect to the healthcare systems. Now, even in a healthcare system, you know, a hospital, you have surgeons, you have specialists, you have people high up there in the chain, so to speak. But you also have porters, you also have cleaners. Not just nurses and doctors, you know, you need somebody to change the beds, push the beds to where they need to go. Everybody has a purpose in that regard. You listening, you have a purpose. And just because your purpose may feel small, it doesn't mean it is. Now, even a bin man or a hospital porter or a cleaner or whatever, these jobs, they are nothing to be looked down upon. This is what our society tends to do. It's capitalism. It's the way things are. But we've always needed people to fulfill those sorts of roles. But that is not just who these people are. Your purpose is not just the value you can bring to the table. It is not just monetary value or material value. It is your soul's purpose, whether you want to believe that or not. We impact one another, even in the most subtlest of ways. Family impacts one another all the time, for good or bad. Every little argument, every little happy moment, it can impact your well-being, your childhood, the way you grow up. The friends you made at school can have a bearing on friends you may make later in life. Everything has a purpose and everyone has a purpose. And your purpose is not just your job or what you materially bring to the table. That same bin man I mentioned, they could have a passion for, I don't know, writing a book, being an author. They could work on that and they could become a bestseller. Not even a bestseller, even someone who moderately sells, you know. But they would still impact people's lives. People may pick up that book and read it and think, wow, this is life-changing, and that may inspire them to create artwork of it or to write their own books. Everything affects everyone. So we're all here for a reason, big or small. Now, we are forgetting that. This is the thing. And that is easier said than done. You know, like I've said, the society we live in. It's very much based in the material. Capitalism does this. Our achievements are measured by money, by pieces of paper and titles and all this jazz. You know, somebody could work for years and years, getting degrees. They could work up to, you know, doctorate level, PhD level. But although they may be knowledgeable in that field, their worth is not just what's on that piece of paper. There may be somebody else that is from a different area of society who wasn't afforded the same opportunities, and yet they could be just as knowledgeable. Maybe not in the exact same field, or maybe so. Their worth is not defined by that piece of paper. Their worth is not defined by that bank balance. It's not defined how they look either. There is a joke that I'm being told to say. It's like an inside joke I say with my friends. It's like, you're not ugly, you're just broke. And that's a dark joke, but it is a commentary on society right now, because you look at celebrities, they're all beautiful, you know, best clothes, designer clothes, lovely makeup, hair done. They've got facelifts, they've had Botox, they've had all sorts going on, work done, tummy tucks, BBLs, whatever else. But if they didn't have the finances to do that, the opportunities afforded to them to do that, they wouldn't be able to. And yet we as a society put them on a pedestal for how they look, because they're so beautiful, they're a model, they're stunning, all this jazz. That does not mean they're worth more than you or me. The way somebody's outside appearance is does not define them either. And this leads into the sensuality side of things. That's why I was guided to talk about looks. I think a lot of us do look at things like that. Mainstream media, actors, actresses, pop stars, rock stars, you know, and it's shoved down our throats, influencer stuff. This day and age, social media, and we're always comparing ourselves. And what people show on social media is not an accurate reflection. Even these influencers that do get work done and do flash off, oh, they've got a nice car and nice clothes and designer things and blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is fakery. I've known people like that in the past who would show off that they've got a nice Mercedes or an Audi or a BMW as an example, and they're all like lease cars. They're not even their cars, you know. It's like, well, hold up, you're kind of renting it to show off. It's a thing, okay? People get turkey teeth done, that's a thing as well. Like all these things, if people didn't have the opportunities presented to them, they wouldn't get that. But even if they take those opportunities and they get those things, does that mean they're a good person? Does that mean they contribute to society in some way? Everything has a purpose, everything has a reason, but a lot, I'll be honest, not everyone, but a lot of influencers, I feel, and I feel like I need to put across in this reading, what they contribute is not positive. Some will and some do, you know. Not everyone is the same, but I'm talking about those that just flash off the fancy things and expensive holidays and things like that. Do they donate to charity? Do they try build others up and things like that? Or are they just trying to sell you something, you know? We've kind of lost touch with that, and what they contribute is people feeling bad about themselves, when ultimately that's not a contribution that is positive in any way. Now, chance, achievement, communication, visualization. Okay, so we've talked about everything and everyone has a purpose, and we've sort of lost sight of that and feeling good about ourselves, etc. But we need to give ourselves a chance to achieve what we are capable of, first and foremost. So looking past the veils, looking past the smoke and mirrors of things, and what's expected of us, and how others behave, and what others project out there, whether it's on social media or in your day-to-day life. Keeping up with the Joneses used to be a saying. If we can give ourselves a chance, regardless of our position in life, to fulfill our soul's higher purpose, to fulfill and to give ourselves something that is happy, that is something we can be proud of. Now, Lucifer is getting me to say a few things here. He, in a Abrahamic sense, is known as an angel that fell because of pride, because he was too prideful. Now, is it really a sin to be prideful? Yes, we can take it too far, like these influences I've mentioned earlier, and we can hurt people by being that way and not contribute in a positive way. But we are conditioned as a society to be so subservient, to be so, looking up to others but not to ourselves. Take pride in some stuff. Take pride in your dreams and your hopes. If you work on something, however big or small, yeah, it's a job well done. He is also pointing out this comet. He is pointing out that is the light at the end of the tunnel, and that is the light that he wants you to see. You don't have to say you're the best thing ever and be a dick. But, if you are the lowly bin man per se, and you are wanting to write a novel, have pride in that. Do it. Go for it. A lot of us shrink, not shriek. A lot of us shrink away with lack of confidence because of how we've been perceiving ourselves and conditioned to be. But if we give ourselves a chance, you never know what you're going to achieve. Now, how do you achieve that? Through effective communication and visualization. Now, it's not just communication with other people, and it's not just portraying yourself, although that is an element of it. This is something I've learned on a personal level. How you portray yourself, people will pick up on. So, the saying, fake it till you make it, that's a thing for a reason. So, if you exude confidence, if you portray yourself as a confident person, then people will see you as that. Inside, you might be nervous, but if you are putting on that facade sort of thing, then they will see you as that. Now, a communication with yourself is being clear with yourself and working through self-limiting beliefs. So that is like shadow work, working through your shadow, the things that hold you back. So say you want to be an author, that's what I'm sticking with right now. You might think, well, everyone writes books and anyone can these days. You can self-publish. It's so hard to get noticed. Okay, so all these negative thoughts holding you back. Number one, you never know if you don't try. Number two, yes, anyone can publish. There's many roads to go down. You could self-publish. You could look at publishing houses, agents, etc. But if you wanted to self-publish, okay, doesn't matter. However you do it, communicate it, whether that is with an agent or a publishing house. But even if you self-publish, well, promote it. Promote it via social media, build up a following. It may not be easy, it may take time, effort and work, but that's all part of it, being clear about who you are, what you represent, what you are putting out into the world. So people will see it and will be interested. And visualization, being clear on the goal. So again, with the analogy of being an author, you want to write a book. What's the book about? You got to know what it's about. What audience are you targeting? What do you want out of this? Do you care if you're going to be a bestseller? Because that's not everything, as I've already said. Because the goal doesn't have to be to get rich and whatever, but it could just be a small thing for you. If you're going to be writing a novel, it's not going to be the same as writing a non-fiction book, is it? And a non-fiction book on herbs, as an example, just because we're looking at flowers, it made me think of herbs. Someone who's a witch might write a magical book. Someone who is a herbalist may be more scientific with it. Who and what is your audience? And even if it's a magical book, what sort of magic? Are we talking Western folk magic? Are we talking ceremonial stuff with herbs incorporated somehow? What are we talking here? So having a clear visualization in mind will help you with your goals, but also not just your goal itself, but like if you could say to yourself, if I was my dream person, what would I be doing right now? Who would I be right now? visualize yourself at that end goal. That's part of manifestation. And I know some of that can be new agey, toxic-y, but there is a seed of truth in it, okay? You have to believe it, and again, fake it till you make it. See yourself achieving that. Where will you be? How will you feel? What will it look like? All that jazz. The more real you can see it, the more real it becomes. That's the message. So there you go, pile one. That lasted quite a while. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Lucifer for the message. I hope it helped. Now pile two, the blue lacer gate. This pile is the Lantern Oracle, which, you know, I will put it in the description. These cards are so big though to shuffle. Now I don't know if I can spread these how I did the others. No, that's not happening. So I'll do my shuffle method. They're very thick, but two have stuck together there. Oh. Right. Wow. A lot of intense emotions coming through here. Just need a second. There's a lot of like heartache. And it's not so much heartache about losing somebody else. This is heartache about yourself. About what's happened to you, who you are as a person, where you're going, and why. The question of why is just hanging over. And if I could write it in the air, why? There you go. It's like, why? Presence of absence. Hold on to what is absent in the presence of your love. Confusion. Growth hurts. Heals and harnesses a way through the uncertainty. Spirit self. Be who you are as you are. Distorted perceptions. Reality is rarely what we are raised to believe it is. Radical curiosity. Seeing as if for the first time every time. And weeping wound. You are not your wounds. This is very much about trauma and grief. That's what I feel here. And it's very much the shadow coming through. The presence of absence. I was drawn to that one. Well, obviously it's the first one that came out, but I couldn't help but see this. She is grieving. She is grieving her lost husband, I would say. But not even just lost husband, because if we look here, that's her family. And very much the energy I feel of that is like an old lady who maybe has lost her husband, but her family are busy with life, as life does get in the way for us all. And so it's like the feeling of being totally alone. You've lost your loved one, your partner, but then also your family, who, I'm not saying they don't love you, but even they aren't there for you as much as you may want. Hence the confusion and the rest, which we'll get into. But this translates to me as a feeling with you guys who have picked this pile of feeling very isolated, feeling like you may have lost loved ones in a literal sense, like death, or in you've lost touch, you've grown apart, friendships you've had. It's left you confused, it's left you sad, grieving the loss and not knowing why. Why has this happened? Why have they left me? Why did they have to go? And why did things fall apart? It's very much dark night of the soul sort of energy here. Now, I just want to say I'm sorry you feel that way, but that is what's coming through, and it's natural to be confused about it. I've been through that myself. I had friends I was friends with for like 20 years. We were sort of inseparable, and I don't know, I can't say they didn't agree with my beliefs per se, but they used it as an excuse because these people were not staunchly religious. They were very liberal people, LGBT people, but still I lost friendships going through that time. And you will find that on a spiritual journey, you will lose things and people that no longer align with you, because your perspective changes. Whether you want to say that's just psychological or whether you want to say that's a vibrational thing, either way, your perspective changes, your outlook on life changes, and therefore you stop resonating even on a subconscious level. It's not that you mean to do it, but you do it nevertheless. But it can be painful and it can be confusing. Why have they done this to me? Why have they left me? This is where spirit self comes in. It's very much leaning into your spirituality, knowing that although you may not have the closure you want, in time it will become easier. And in time you may have a sense of understanding at the very least. Like I explained just then, the vibration changes, you're not on the same wavelength, all that. But you should never change yourself, whether it's a spiritual thing or not. You should never change yourself for other people or to fit in or to keep holding on to something or somebody that is no longer serving you, that is no longer on the same resonance as you. You should never do that, okay? Distorted perceptions, what we think is happening is rarely true. This you could take many ways, and I'm being told to explain it like this. So people's intentions first and foremost, no matter how many years you have been friends with someone, you think you know someone, as harsh as this may seem, you don't always know somebody inside out. People change, people grow, they may be going through stuff too. So people's true intentions, although someone may be very honest and may be upfront as possible, you don't always 100% know that, okay? So the way they come across, it can sometimes be an annoying thing. They may be deceiving you on purpose, okay, that does happen. But it may also be that they are subconsciously doing that. They don't mean to do that. It's not just that people change, it's the way they perceive things. So we all view reality through our own unique viewpoint. Nobody's view is ever 100% the same. We experience this life through our eyes. Others may have similar experiences, they may have resonance with you, but nobody is ever going to see things through your eyes. And why I'm saying this and why I'm being told to say it like this is because, you know, sometimes you may be having a conversation with somebody and you've said something that you meant it a certain way, but they've took it a different way. They've took offence to something. Well, somebody else might have heard that and thought it was a joke. You might have said it as a joke, but someone else may be sensitive to that. This is because of perception. Everything is perception. And so this is why being confused about why and where and whatever and trying to get closure over the change, over the loss, it's not going to fulfill you in the way you may think, because perception is very personal, and they may think you're an asshole or something, you know, from their point of view. I think back to my friends, for example. They may think, well, she's, you know, not spending enough time with us anymore. She doesn't go out. I used to go to the pub, for example. Like, she doesn't go to the pub anymore. So she's not making time for us. She's being selfish. You know, they may have thought of it like that. So a dark night of the soul really gets you thinking about stuff like this, and you will start to see things through a new lens. This turns into this card, the Radical Curiosity, and this straight away made me think of the Fool, because not just of the picture, it's a young girl, a sprite, an imp, fairy maybe, seeing as if for the first time every time. So if you can like step out of your perception, instead of being lost in the quagmire of confusion, if you can take a step back, look at the situation from the outside in, and then see it through new eyes, then you may get that understanding that you sorely need and seek. Because no, you're not just your wounds, okay? Dwelling on it makes you feel like this, okay? I like the imagery of this. It actually, I think it's a woman, but it made me think of Lucifer, to be honest. Don't let this define you. A lot of us who are spiritual will go through a dark night of the soul. It's part of you waking up. It's part of your vibration changing, however you want to phrase that. Your perception, your reality shifting, knowing there is more to life in both the good and the bad things, in both the light and the dark things. Everything has purpose, everything has meaning. So even this happening to you, you may not understand it, this loss, but you can move past it. And if you continue to remain in this stagnant energy, then all you'll feel is like depression, like woe is me energy. Like, it does not shape who you are. Don't let past things change your future in that way for the bad. Learn from them, accept them, acknowledge them, grow from them. Don't let them hold you back. Okay, that is your message, and I feel I need to end it there. I just feel like that's right. So don't let the past hold you back. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that helped. Thank you to Lucifer too for this message. That was pile 2. Now on to pile 3 with the Fire Agate. And this is the Venice Witch Oracle. This is one of the newer Oracle decks I have. And I really am in love with this Oracle deck because, yes, Lucifer is Venus, he's Venusian, but so am I, I'm a Libra. Very ruled by Venus. Excited for this, pile 3. Okay. Let's see if we can fit all these cards. Yeah, I was told to pull 7. First and foremost, I'm being told you're not alone. You're never alone. Even in the loneliest of times, even when you feel like there's nothing left, you are never ever alone. Even when you are physically alone, no, you're not, because we all have a spirit team. We've got guides, gods, ancestors. Even spirits that you probably don't even know who or what they are. Some may call these starseed spirits or whatever, light beings, is it? I'm not into the new age, but I don't discriminate. whatever you want to label it, whoever, there are higher powers and higher beings that care for us. Because we are all interconnected, and this has really, really, really been the theme of all these readings about the connectivity of things, especially reading 1 and this. Yeah, and the fact I've got the flower of life pattern on here, on this selenite heart. I just thought I'd put this on the table today. Everything is interconnected, and everybody, human, animal, plants, extraterrestrials, even spirits, gods, whatever, whoever, we're all connected. So you are never alone, and you have purpose. Okay, you have purpose, you have meaning. And right now, pile 3, you're starting to see that. You're going through a renewal, a rebirth, shedding of the old self. She's literally took off her old skin. Like a snake would. And I'm being taught to say it like that because it is Lucifer here. The snake was never about deception. It was knowledge, and it was healing, and it was rebirth, and then it was turned into something else. But renewal is what you are going through. It's a deeper understanding, I feel, of what I said and why I was called to say that you're never alone. Family. Now, not everyone has the best relationship with their family. I know I don't, not all the time, but even the family I've maybe fell out with over the years, you know, I've come to realise, look, there's a bigger meaning to all of this, even the little arguments and fallouts, and I try and move past it, even when I have all good reason to hold a grudge or whatever. I try not to these days because, and by the way, I want to say, if you are in that position, I'm not saying to just forgive people, absolutely not, even your family. But what I am saying is, even family that you don't resonate with is still family, and we're still all connected, and the wounds of our ancestors carry forth. This is what's called generational trauma and ancestral wounds, and why it's important to delve into that. That might be something that you need to have a look at yourself. There are some ancestors I've even got that I am like, oh, do I have to? But even the ones that don't resonate with us, we can still learn from their lives, their mistakes, their experiences, and even if their beliefs as a spirit, or as a person who they were, or even if it's who they still are now, if you have, say, grandparents that are alive, you know, you don't have to talk with them if, say, you fell out with them. I'm not saying that, like I've already said, but you can learn from their lives and their experiences, because whether you like that or not, it affects you. It's in your DNA, it's in your genes. These things affect us, you know. There is theories out there, isn't there? I forgot the name of the teaching. It's not a teaching, it's a scientific thing where, say, for example, if your ancestors suffered starvation, it can affect your genes. So you may find it harder to lose weight. You might have a different metabolism, for example, because you had ancestors that went without, and so their DNA, their genes changed, mutated. There's various mutations in genes, some for good, some for bad. Things like ADHD sometimes can be linked to your genes. So even in a scientific, biological way, family is an important thing to look at. Doesn't mean you always have to get along, doesn't mean you have to forgive and forget and all of that, although if you're able to, I would say to try, but if you can't, fair enough. But even in death, they can impact us, because death is one thing that will come to us all. Death is literal, okay, but death is also part of renewal, okay. Death is the ending of cycles. Without death, we can't have a rebirth. we need to sometimes let go of things to learn new things. People talk about ego deaths. That is a part of letting go of false ideas to see the higher picture, that kind of thing. Through that, as well, in a literal sense, your guides was next, which feels like it links to family. And I feel, whether you like it or not, pile 3, some of your guides are your ancestors, and you need to dig into that. I'm feeling, for some reason, ancient Mexican vibes for some people. Now, not all of you will be Mexican, of course, but that's very specific. But there is someone here that's making me think of the Incan Aztec people, but it's specifically Mexico, so I don't think that would have been Incan, or Mayan would it have been in Mexico, I'm not sure. But I do know that they would have called them Mexicanas, forgive me for that, okay? But I do feel an ancient vibe of that area of the world. That's what I'm drawn to say. But that's not for everyone, I know that. However, what is for everyone is that if you can dig into your family, even past like generations that may not have agreed with you, you know, say staunch Christians as an example. If you're a witch or a pagan or whatever, and you've got like a staunch Catholic grandma that's in spirit and she's angry at you, you know, you're not going to get along with that. You can still learn from her life experiences, good and bad, but that's not going to be a guide to you. But someone more ancient, that's what I'm feeling. Dig into that. I've dug into that. I've dug into my Norse, Danish ancestors before. I've dug into some Scottish ancestors from way back when. So if you can, okay, because there is beauty in that, and there is beauty in culture and in looking into your past, where your genes, your DNA, your bloodline comes from. It's part of your own growth into the future, into maybe creating a legacy for yourself in a literal way if you end up having children yourself, but also in a spiritual way. Father journeys. The father energy, again, can link in with ancestors and family, what I've said, but I feel, especially because I'm with Lucifer right now, I feel like he is calling out to some of his people with this particular reading. People call him Father Lucifer. Now, it's not to say he's for everyone. Could be somebody of the same archetype, like Horus I mentioned right at the start. He's just one that sticks in my mind. It's not just him. But there is a divine masculine energy of a deity coming through here for you. Explore that. That might be someone like Loki as well. Loki and Lucifer are often compared, probably because they're adversarial energies, to some people at least. But have a look at that, because there is a protective, divine masculine wanting to help you on your journey and with all of this, because you're at a point where your perspective is changing and energy is shifting, and you could accept this more than you ever could before. Who knows what the future will hold for you? Only you can decide it though. So maybe look into not just your ancestors, but that divine masculine. We all need both masculine and feminine. And I have a feeling that some of you here, a bit like me at one point, I was guilty of this, are more leaning towards feminine energies. I get it. That's okay. But we all need both, whether you're a male or female listening, doesn't matter. It's all about balance. Now's the time in this new chapter to get that, because I do strongly feel that whether it's Lucifer or somebody else for you, they just want to help guide you moving forward. And that's the message. I hope this has helped. Thank you so much to Lucifer and to yourselves for listening. If you found this useful, hit like, hit subscribe. There was something stuck on the cloth there. I don't know what that is, a crumb, probably off that. Anyways, thank you everybody for being here, for listening. Please remember, hit like, hit subscribe. You can check out my main channel in the description as well. I am that divination witch. But thank you for being here. I didn't have to use the tarot in the end. I thought I might have to. But yeah, thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.